Hi everyone, and welcome to Protocol 36. And in today's video, I'll be listing up my top 10 must-have villains for Marvel Spider-Man 2. If you've been following this channel from the beginning, you would know that I've done a similar video to this, which was a top 5 instead. But this video was suggested by Brian Ingold, and this time recommended to not add the Green Goblin and Venom into this list, as they are most likely going to be in the game anyway. However, I just want to say this list is my opinion. If there's a villain that you really want to see but is not in this list, please put your list in the comments down below. I would love to read them. I also want to quickly ask if you could give this video a like, as that would really help out the channel, and I'm really close to 1000 subscribers, so if you could also subscribe, that would mean the world to me. At number 10 we have Morbius. Morbius is a character we haven't seen a lot of in Spider-Man games, and if I remember correctly, I don't think we've seen him in an actual Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 3, the movie tie-in game, but it was only for the PlayStation 2, PSP and V versions. Other than that though, he's just been an unlockable character in other Marvel games, and then Insomniac may or may not have added Morbius in Spider-Man PS4 in the form of Dr. Morgan Michaels, who was one of the people responsible for the Devil's Breath project. The reason why I mention him is because the name Morgan Michaels is one of the aliases of Michael Morbius in the comics, and unless it's a massive coincidence that Insomniac happens to use the same name, which I don't think is the case, there's a very good chance that we could actually get him turning into Morbius the Living Vampire in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And finding a vampire in the sequel would not only be awesome and different, but it's also something I really want. Next, at number 9 we have The Spot. The Spot is also a character who isn't used much in Spider-Man games. In fact, I believe he's never been in any Marvel video games as far as I know, and even though he isn't one of Spider-Man's most popular villains, his powers are really interesting, having the ability to create portals to go anywhere he wants in the world in a short period of time, and can also enter another alternate dimension which he calls the Spot World. He can not only use portals to enter and exit anywhere he wants, but can also use them to move any of his body parts from one place to another, which has proven to be very effective when attacking someone like Spider-Man. Honestly, the Spot would create really fun and interesting gameplay for Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I'm pretty shocked that he hasn't made it to a video game yet. Next we have Hydro Man. Even though he isn't anywhere near as popular as his sand counterpart, the Sandman, finding a guy who's made out of water in the Spider-Man video game is a very cool idea if you think about it. I don't think there are many references to Morris Bench in the first game or Spider-Man Miles Morales, but adding him as a brand new foe for Peter Parker and Miles Morales to face for the first time would be great. At number 7 we have Wraith. At this point I think it's safe to say that we may see Yuri again in Marvel Spider-Man 2, especially everything that happened in the City That Never Sleeps DLC, and I think everyone is excited to see more of her in the sequel. Not only do I want Wraith in the game, but also want and do believe that we will get an emotional fight between her and Peter. Also, with her playing a huge role in the DLC, I can't see Insomniac not adding her in the main story of the sequel, and I also can't wait to see how her suit is going to look like. At number 6 we have the Sandman, aka Flint Marko. Honestly, when I played Marvel Spider-Man for the first time, I was pretty shocked to find out that Sandman wasn't really in the game. At least we did get few references of him, and Spider-Man apparently even trapped him in a vial, so it's safe to say that he's definitely going to get out of it in Marvel Spider-Man 2. Honestly, the potential Sandman has in a video game is pretty much unlimited, especially with the capacity of the PlayStation 5. Just imagine fighting him with the black suit on, similar to the underground fight scene in Spider-Man 3. That would honestly be beautiful. Plus, he's one of Peter's oldest villains in the comics, so it would only make sense to add him in the sequel. Next, we have Mysterio at number 5. I think when it comes to villains who didn't show up in Spider-Man PS4, Mysterio was the one villain who was referenced the most, and even made an appearance in the Marvel Spider-Man comics, which is considered canon to the games. The amount of times PR referenced Mysterio in the game, especially when collecting the backpacks, tells me that Mysterio is probably going to be in the sequel. That said, I could definitely be wrong. Either way, he's not only one of the classic villains of Peter Parker, but also a fan favorite. Heck, to many people he's their favorite Spider-Man villain, and one of the best parts in Spider-Man Far From Home, at least in my opinion. Thanks to not only Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, but also the way he was able to use his illusions against Peter in the film. And just imagine having those gameplay sequences in Marvel Spider-Man 2. It would honestly be breathtaking on the PS5, and I can definitely see Insomniac add a section where Mysterio takes away Peter's spider sense, so we're forced to fight Mysterio without it, which he has done in the comics. So Mysterio is definitely a must-have for Marvel Spider-Man 2 in my opinion. At number 4 we have the Hub Goblin. Obviously, for them to introduce the Hub Goblin, we're gonna need the Green Goblin first, unless of course you're the 90s Spider-Man animated series. But jokes aside, assuming we do get the Green Goblin in Marvel Spider-Man 2, it would be awesome to also have the Hub Goblin as a boss, assuming he steals tech from Oscorp and uses an improved version of the Goblin Serum. I don't see him having a place in the main story, but I can definitely see Insomniac telling stories about him via side missions or even DLC, possibly even adapt their own version of the mystery of the Hub Goblin from the comics. For third, we have Carnage. Carnage is also a character where we need another villain to introduce before he can come along, obviously that character being Venom, and if Insomniac do add Carnage Carnage in this. I feel like Carnage needs to be used either in a side mission or preferably DLC for Insomniac's most anticipated sequel, assuming we actually do get Venom in the game. He's one of Spider-Man's most powerful and dangerous villains out there, and just facing him along with Miles would definitely be an amazing experience. The last time Cletus Cassidy made an appearance in a Spider-Man video game was, I believe, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie tie-in game, so I definitely think he should appear in the Insomniac Marvel universe, of course after they have introduced and established Venom. And number 2, we have the Lizard. Not only did we get a lot of references to the Lizard in Spider-Man PS4, but also Dr. Connors made an appearance in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Miles Morales, so it's also safe to say that he's going to have a massive role in Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I can't wait to see how he's going to look like in the game, as I have no doubt he will look absolutely amazing and terrifying. The Lizard has always been one of the most interesting and compelling Spider-Man villains because he's a father and a husband who just wants a normal life by trying to regrow his arm, but by creating a serum based on lizard DNA, he becomes the villainous reptile. I hope if we do get the Lizard in Marvel Spider-Man 2, it isn't just a fight under the sewer, but also in the city. Maybe in one section of the bus fight we are forced to chase him down and Peter has to try and cure him. Obviously we're going to get a bus fight with the Lizard in the sewers, but I also hope that there are other locations in New York where we do get to fight him. And of course, number 1, we have Kraven the Hunter, Sergei Kravenov, who's a character who hasn't been referenced by Insomniac in any way. We know his brother the Chameleon exists, but so far we got nothing when it comes to Kraven, so we don't even know if this version of Peter Parker has even faced a version of Kraven the Hunter, so I'm going to assume that he hasn't yet, which would still be pretty cool to see Kraven to try and hunt down an experienced Spider-Man who knows what he's doing. I can see him being similar to Taskmaster in the first game, but this time having traps in place for Peter and even Miles so that he can try and take them down. In the comics, Sergei does have a potion which he consumes to give him enhanced strength, speed and durability, making him a physical threat to Spider-Man. I can honestly see the hand-to-hand combat gameplay be absolutely insane if done right, and I have no doubt Insomniac will nail it with whatever direction they choose to go with for Kraven. So yeah, this is my list. Beware though, this isn't really any particular order, but these are pretty much the villains that I really want to see in Marvel Spider-Man 2. However, I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree with this list or not? Let me know in the comments down below and give me your own list of which villains you want to see in Marvel Spider-Man 2. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.